Hi, I'm Dr. David Nelson. I am a faculty member in the Communication Arts Department at Valdosta State, and I teach a lot of classes dealing with social media. I deal with a social media strategies class, and I do a data analytics class at the university. And my background is many moons ago in the 1900s, early this century we're in, is I worked in the industry, IT industry, at a web design and hosting company. Then went back to school, and wham bam, several years of more education. Here I am today to talk to you about just some basic social media strategies for you and your business. We go on here, overview, but what I'm going to talk about is like communication between you and your audience. Think about platforms that you might want to use. We're also going to go into the analytics side, which can be really super helpful. Understanding is what you're putting out there really works. At the end of this, I've got my information if you'd like to talk more in depth about this, or if there's a topic that you and anybody here would like me to go explain more about. As I said earlier, this is just kind of a basic overview and food for thought for like social media strategies for you out there. So I'm going to jump into the most important part of what social media about. It's about communicating. And obviously, the traditional styles of promoting or marketing or getting your message out or any sales, anything like that would be in the print, radio, television, just very one-way communication. With social media, those kind of like thoughts and ways you would want to go out and try to work or communicate with an audience has definitely changed. So one thing that I'm always asking my students and also myself in all the social media projects and things that I do on the side outside of the university is, who am I talking to? Why do they want to pay attention to what I'm saying? How can I create engagement? How can I make this totally work? So here's some food for thought when thinking about communicating to your audience. First and foremost, who is your intended audience? The days of like trying to go for everybody and those are kind of like, because this is a living document, this is a living thing, are over. You can get really super specific in who you want to communicate to. So say you're trying to do a sale or you're trying to reach a particular person, or as I like to refer to in the classroom, who's your tribe. You need to think about, is what you're saying going to be effective for them? So one question you want to ask is like, who are you looking for? Who do you want to attract with this message? Also, not only once you've kind of figured that out and you've did more than just, I would say more than just the basic demographics, but think about what are their habits? What are their hobbies? What are they like as people outside of this, the computer screen right there? So once you figure that out again, who are you designing that message for? Because not all messages are going to work for all peoples. Again, different tribes, different things are going to work for it. And I always like to use sports as a metaphor/analogy. Is if you want to attract people who support specific teams have specific theme songs, they have specific colors, they have specific logos, they have specific mascots that invoke team pride and things you're going to root about in there. So once you've designed that message and you've thought about your tribe within there, you need to think about, when are you going to be posting this? What time does your tribe most active on the platforms that you're going to choose? And also, when you do that, how often are you posting? That is super important. Consistency is really the king to all of this, or one of the key components, because we become creatures of habit and there are certain expectations. If somebody is looking for you in the big world, they're going to do a Google search, or they're going to search on Safari, Firefox, whatever their search engine of choice is. One quick research tool you can do is type in your business and where do you pop up on that search engine. Statistics and data says 90 to 80% of people do not go past the first page. And then if we go to the second page, then it's like 90% of people don't go past that one. And then it's like 95% of the first. So it becomes a law of diminishing returns. So where do you sit in your SEO, your search engine optimization? Things you can do to increase that is post it, and also think about hashtags that are specific to your business or whatever you're trying to market at that time. So if you're on page 5, a goal is to maybe move it up to page 3. It does take a little bit of time unless you're going to do a paid and then be on the first one. But again, it's more organic if you tend to people tend to search and find it on the first page, most likely on there. Another question you're going to want to ask yourself is about what is your best practices. If you have somebody with your company or organization posting for you, do you have a set of guidelines that they need to follow? Like if somebody has a complaint about something or posts something that does not jive with what you're, within your brand, how do you respond to that thing? Also within those best practices is language that you want to be used, images that you want to be used. So again, overview of kind of like this whole food for thought is, who is your intended audience, I would say, and / tribe? What is that tribe looking for? Why do they want to be attracted to that? Are you designing a message that's going to be that's going to attract that audience? How often are you posting? Is there a regularity to your posting? Where do you sit in the world of the search engines? And what type of best practices do you have for your company or organization? And I want to go back to the best practices is if you have somebody, an intern do that, or something that person moves on or somebody replaces them, it creates more consistency for you and your organization. Even more specifically, when we get into strategies there, this is super important. When you look at what the data says or what the research says about audiences in the social media world, they like you to be genuine. They like you to be authentic, meaning don't be something that you're not. So think about what is the voice of your organization? What is your brand's voice? If it doesn't sit, that could also impact, again, the results that you're looking for on there. Another aspect is why people like the social media and what creates people returning, whether you're trying to make sales. You want continual customers if you're, again, doing sales right there, is create conversations. Why do people want to participate? Again, that goes into message design. And the more you do this, the more you're going to get to know who your audience / your tribe is, the easier it's going to be able to understand what conversations those people, that audience, that tribe likes to be a part of. Also, be relevant. There's a lot of tools you can use out there that help you become relevant in what you're doing. One of them that I always tell students is check out Google Trends. So what's going on in Valdosta? What's going on in your industry? How can you use those trends and use those to gauge conversation or create conversations to drive traffic within your social media platforms? Also, it's important that you are relevant, meaning you're talking about things that are important to your client or to your customers, or maybe possibly even to your clients there, that you're not being off topic, that you're not being off brand within it. One thing that I see, and this is within businesses that have say a Facebook page or maybe even an Instagram, it's always like, hey, come see my stuff, come buy my stuff. Hey, this is how much this costs. It's not just about self-promotion. We get inundated, I think YouTube, I read last year, gets about 8 trillion posts a day. So if that much data, that information, people have a lot of choices. So again, it goes back into being genuine, creating a relationship. It's not just one way. Again, like I said earlier, how do you create something that people want to go to? And the rule of thumb is it's 4 to 1. So it's 4 posts about information people can use. It could be about a conversation. You could find a meme that maybe people like. And then on the 5th post is hey, we're having a sale coming up. Again, people don't want to feel like they're being talked at. They want to feel like they're being part of something. So think about it when you're talking to somebody or you're dealing with a salesperson. When you tend to want to spend money there is once you've established a relationship. This is really what you're curating online, is a digital relationship with that audience, and they're going to want to come back. The more times they return, the more they're going to enjoy that, the more likely if they're selling something, they're going to purchase that. And then also that leads to word of mouth, which is priceless. You can't a promotion for you and your organization. Be transparent. Don't try to bait and switch. Again, again, if you're continually posting buy my stuff, I get it. You're trying to sell something, or you want me to buy something. But again, it's being honest. It's about being authentic. The great thing about social media that I like is you're allowed to be creative. I work part-time at a music store in town just for something different to do, where I'm not talking about education, and some of my colleagues / friends, we cut a commercial for the music store up there, and we just cut something that I thought of when I was like in grad school, those over-the-top commercials, and the owner let us do it, and it's probably one of the most watched videos for the music store up there. So have fun with the platform, and that fun fits in with your brand, fits in with like your conversations, fits in with your being authentic. So think about that also when you're working on your best practices. It doesn't always have to be really flat. Memes are a great way to generate that. Also, leverage your customers' generated content. Ask them to participate. Ask them to share. Who doesn't like? I notice this. People loved it when they get tagged and stuff, or they get a mention in things. So ask them to participate. Be a part of it. That helps you out. That helps generate authenticity. It generates that everything is not going to be one directional. So how do you go about communicating all of this stuff to your brand online? There's some steps you should consider right here. 1, define who your target persona is. Who is your organization? If it was an actual living sentient being out there, what would that be like in the social media? If it had an avatar to it, what would that be? How would that communicate? What is that voice going to be? Also, you need to think about what are the channels you need to be on. Not every channel is going to be suited for what you want to do. If you're selling crafts or clothes, or you're a restaurant, maybe Pinterest would be a good platform for you, where you could post simple recipes or visuals of what's going on. Maybe Instagram may be a channel for you. Maybe you might want to think about putting something on LinkedIn. So you need to do research, again, knowing where your tribe is at, where they like to live, where they like to participate in, will help you define what platform. Again, you can't be on every single platform because there's only so many hours in the day, and at a certain point it's hard to be all things to all people. So it's easier to target. And also maybe think about, where do you want most of your audience to be? What is your hub? Think of it as in a wheel in the hub, and if you have other platforms elsewhere, how do you have those platforms to drive traffic to your hub? So maybe pick 2 or 3 platforms and work it from there. Also, it's important to understand your message that you're looking to deliver. Again, this goes back to consistency. Delivering within that tone, and understanding that, and consistency, and going back to having best practices and doing it. There's also a little bit of kind of trial and error. You might want to question your best customers, your best clients out there, and that could help you kind of design what your message should be and how it should be delivered here. Stories are a great way to do this, meaning, how do you build the story of your company, your organization, your business? We are inherently storytellers. What is the story you want to tell? Whether it's a sale, why is it important to it? Again, have fun with the platform. You don't have to be an expert, but people love a good story. So ask yourself, do an inventory, do a brand inventory, and think about, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? And then how are you going to get there? They can be really simple. Start out by, don't try to do everything at one time. Set one simple goal. Maybe it is, I want to increase my search engine optimization. Maybe it's, I want to increase my engagement. Maybe it's, I want to increase the amount of audiences that I'm attracting. The little simple baby steps in there, and then work it from there. Or maybe you're like, okay, we're going to have a marketing plan coming up for something that's coming up for a big sale. Build that up. So set baby goals. Don't try to do like 5 or 6. Think about 1 or 2 at a time. And then once you do check that off, move on to the next thing. It is a living document. So if something is not working, don't be afraid to change it. Have kind of like contingency. You have to have a little bit of be flexible within that. If you're don't write it down the ship. Don't take this as the Titanic here. If it's not working, and we'll talk about data analytics here in just in a little bit, is make changes to it. If the audience isn't responding, don't be afraid to kind of stop it and then move on to the next thing. Because again, then you're just wasting your time, which I think sometimes is worth more than any money you can put into something. If it's not working, stop it. And if it's living, also pay attention to it. Think and make notes to it. Why is this working? Why is my audience attracted to what's going on here? What are they attracted to the most? But it's important. You can't, if you do something that worked really well, don't always expect the same results every time. If you cut and paste it, it's not always going to provide the same results every single time. And then also, people catch on to that also, and they get kind of tired of it. You become kind of like a one-trick pony when going through there. So I kind of mentioned this earlier. Again, food for thought on this is, what platforms should you be using? Where should you be? Where should you live? Do research. Twitter may be the place. I don't know. Twitter has changed immensely since I've been on it for the past 10, 15 years. It is a different beast. I can remember what Facebook was like in 2005 when they opened it up for the world. So you just didn't need to have an EDU account. It could be anybody out there, and what people are posting is way different than that. So is Facebook, is Instagram going to be the place where you want to live? Maybe TikTok, possibly. It's not just for young people. Pinterest. LinkedIn is also a resource that kind of gets overlooked for a lot of places to be. So questions you need to ask yourself is, as I stated earlier, what are your goals? Where do you want to be? Is it sales? Then what is the website? What is the platform that's going to be best for you? What's a good platform for customer service, where you're able to get feedback? And when you're looking at this feedback, if you get some negative feedback, don't worry. It happens to everybody. But the great thing is you're able to see that feedback. What's the difference between the cranks and the real, genuine, honest feedback on there? Again, people are looking for good experiences. If they're having a bad experience, people do not have a problem letting you know, particularly on social media, because the ramifications are very slight on their end. But if you know that that's an issue, it's something you need to address. So great place for customer feedback. And again, as I stated earlier on here, what platforms is your audience? Where are they living at? And also, what type of content are you going to be creating? Not all platforms are great for all type of content. If you're looking for short, direct, to the point stuff, maybe Instagram is going to be your place. And they've been adding new aspects to the stories, which are great ways to attract traffic in here and market what you're doing. Let me just give you a couple just quick overviews of some of these platforms that are available to you. One, obviously Facebook, which everybody should be aware of right there. But again, many types of different content. You can do video, you can do audio, or not so much audio, excuse me. You can do video, you can do pictures up there. So if you're looking for large numbers, maybe Facebook. But again, at the same time, a problem you need to think about is the algorithms on that make it difficult on Facebook for you to reach an audience unless you're wanting to do like target audience, targeted payments for advertising on that. But again, that may be one platform you want to use. Is Twitter the go-to platform for you if you feel it's too volatile, which it can be? Maybe that's not the place to go, but it's going to be mostly text-based, short videos and images on there. LinkedIn, as I mentioned earlier, is a platform for a lot of business-to-businesses out there. So it's a good place for networking. It's a good place to put editorial content out there. It's a good place to share. It's a good place to recruit possible employees out there. And another one here I'll briefly go over is Pinterest. This is a great visual place to go. I think like 80 to 70% of people on Pinterest are going to be female. So if your tribe is mostly females, that may be a good place to go and hang out. It is super visually heavy, and it can bring topics of like a lot of creative works is going on there. So the key point is look to see what platform's the best. I would put a cautionary tale in there is look, if something new comes up, investigate it. But you don't always want to be the first person on it, but you don't want to be the last person on that platform. If you jump on too soon and it goes under, as we've seen over the years, many social media platforms here and go. Vine would be an example of that. It was a fad, and now it's kind of gone the way, it's disappeared off the social media platforms. So what's going to be a good platform. Even if it's new, wait to see how it is going to be. Do an investigation of the company behind it. Is it something that's got investors behind and looking to do a quick turn and sell it to like a Facebook or a Google or something along that lines? So know where you're going to be putting your time and effort in there. As I'm kind of winding down here, there is a lot of great analytical tools that are being provided by these platforms. Facebook, Google Analytics you can link to your web pages. You can link that to any of your social media to be able to read that. Instagram has great one. If you go the professional, once you get 100 followers, it gives you pretty good insights. Twitter does as well. So it is valuable, rich information that helps you understand the habits of the people that you're trying to attract or the people that are coming to you, what's going on. So one thing is it can help companies better understand your customers, evaluate your ad campaigns, whether your personalized content is working, look at what's going on to create content strategies, develop products, develop ideas. Ultimately, businesses can use data analytics to boost your performance, to improve your bottom line. So when you're looking at this, what you're looking for is metrics. And those metrics may be sales, and there's some other metrics in there that are not quantifiable, but are just as important, such as engagement. One metric that used to be important probably about 5-10 years ago was the number of likes and the number of follows. You can buy those now. You can spend $5, $10, $15 and get 50, 100, million followers. But that's not a true sense of engagement. That's not an accurate gauge of success of what you're doing. Companies now, as I said many times before, are looking for true engagement from fans. So people who respond, people who are sharing, people who are engaging in what's going on. So what does this all help and do is it makes better, faster, more informed decisions based on pure facts. So if you're noticing people are on, like if you have a website and you do Google Analytics and you're noticing people are on it and they're on it for a short time, why is that? Maybe the link you provide doesn't work. Maybe you've designed something that only works on desktops and you've discovered 80 to 90% of your traffic is using mobile phones. So again, knowing who your tribe is and how they communicate is super important. Are you designing messages specific to that would work on a mobile phone? Or is it something that would only work on a desktop? Again, that is a really super helpful fact. Where are they coming from? What type of operating systems on there? So a deeper understanding of customer requirements helps build better relationships. The more you know about your customers, your clients, it makes them happier at the end of the day. Again, research, research, research. Also, it increases awareness of risk. What not to do, where not to go, and you can establish measures. Again, this would be built into your best practices. Important metrics and measurements to think about when it comes to data analytics. Bounce rates, meaning how long are people there and then gone. If you're doing a sale and people are just there once and then gone, then something's wrong. Maybe you need to look into, particularly if it's an online sale that you're doing it on. I think one measure it's hard to do is to know if you're a brick and mortar store, how does this increase sales in your store? Again, then you're going to want to use the metrics of engagement and discussions outside of like whatever platforms you're on. Demographical data is super important. Again, who's coming to your site? Conversion rates. This is like if you have a people selling stuff online, how much are people putting in the basket and then checking out versus putting in the basket, taking out, and not going. Return rates. Big thing is you look at like Amazon and even Walmart's getting into that, and I would even say Target is doing that, is like how many people are consistent customers coming back to. That's where your bread and butter is. You could do a sale and you could get a lot of return on that one and done, but how do you create that one and done to a regular client or regular customer when you're doing it? So understanding the client's behaviors helps you make decisions of what's going on. Again, like I said, what's overrated, thumbs up, and likes. It's going to, again, how many of those are real people versus bots out there? Or maybe it's a family member. I know my mom's liked stuff many times I post it on social media. It doesn't necessarily improve my metrics of what's going on. So an overview of kind of like data that would be super important to pay attention to. Engagement. How many people are talking to you? I know on Facebook Analytics, it tells you, it gives you like you've engaged with this many people, and it will give you a flat percentage of like up 20%, down 20%. How many people are sharing this? How many people are spreading the word about the great things that you're doing? Sales. How many people can do that? How many people are you reaching, which is an important thing. So you can post something. Reach means how far is it going beyond just like the people liking on that. Repeat traffic and new traffic. Those are just some of the basics to think about when it comes to analytics. Bottom line is when you're looking at this is you have to do your research, you have to do your thinking about it, and there's going to be some trial and error. But with the tools that you're provided with it, you can make a lot of better decisions in the future. And then the more you do it, the easier this is going to become. If anybody has any questions, anything you need me to follow up on or clarify more, that is my contact information right there, right at the university. And friendly, I don't bite. I respond pretty quickly right there. And maybe if there's a topic you would like me to discuss in the future, again, go more in depth here, I'd be more than happy to do that. But thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this.